Ma'am, what are the challenges at the moment in general that you see for the summit?
We have to realize that in these recent years, the G20 has assumed a hugely important role in solving some of the world's major problems that have arisen. We've known, of course, that a lot of this could be done through the UN, but we do know that in the UN, the Security Council, dominated by the P5, and functioning of the UN and even the Bretton Woods financial institutions have not been satisfactory at all, especially from the point of view of developing countries. And so we did see in the aftermath of the financial crisis that the G20 formed in 1999 is now assuming more and more important role. India's chairmanship of the G20, which we are going to assume as of 1st of December, is being treated with the highest importance by Prime Minister Modi and the entire government of India. And they're attaching the highest importance to it because we do see through India's role as through the presidency of the G20 that India will have for 1 year from December 1, we do see a great potential for working towards solutions of many of the problems facing the world with the focus on the interests of the developing countries and the emerging economies. And this is significant because the problem very much in search for solutions to the financial and economic crises facing the world is the fact that this has been dominated largely by the Western economies, by the G7 members. And now we do see a chance for the emerging economies to play a role. If I can just point out one important point,
Sure.
that the Troika of the G20. The Troika includes the immediate past president, the current president, and the incoming president. Now, for the first time, as on 1st December, the Troika will have Indonesia as the immediate past president, India as the current president, and Brazil as the future president. For the first time, all three members of the Troika are strong emerging economies.
Right.
And this provides a vital opportunity for India's chairmanship to steer into solutions that will benefit the developing world in India's great commitment to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The welfare of all is of vital interest. Now, what are the areas of focus for the G20 that we are looking at? The G20 emerged primarily to look at financial markets and the world economy. But we see increasingly that the G20 has been looking into issues like climate change, called lifestyle for the environment. These are assuming importance. Energy security, food security, women's empowerment. These are some of the issues that are more and more are taking up greater focus in the G20. And we do know that India, in its preparation for the presidency of the G20, has committed itself to giving importance to these aspects. And I think that we are planning in each of these aspects to see what India can do to bring solutions before the world and implement the solutions with the focus on the emerging economies. There are a number of groups. The summit for the G20 is being held right now in Bali, but India has planned for the next summit to be held in New Delhi in September 2023. But in the meanwhile, throughout the year, beginning 1st of December, we will be holding about 200 G20 meetings on different subjects in different parts of the country, all across India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, as they say. So this is a massive task for India, but a massive opportunity for playing the leadership role and helping the world in the search for solutions on the vital issues that I just mentioned. There is a very interesting new area that is coming up beyond the 20 focus areas of the G20, and that is the R20. Indonesia, during their chairmanship, organized a meeting on religion 20. So what is the religion? How religious harmony can be brought about? And this is an important aspect for the world, and the world should focus upon it. Let us see what happens to R20 over the next few years, but it is certainly a very interesting new aspect. So in each of these areas of importance to the G20, we will get experts from those areas, from the 20 countries who will come to India, discuss, and will then work out the possible solutions and what we would like to do. A solution-based or output of all these meetings is what we are looking at. And one can see in what a wide area that the G20 is looking to work in. If I can just mention some of the areas, you will see that the ongoing conversations, as the Ministry of External Affairs has said, revolve around equitable, inclusive, and sustainable growth. This is a very important overall focus for the world. Lifestyle for environment, women's empowerment, digital public infrastructure. This is very important. India is a world leader in digital technology, and we want to share this with the world, and we want to look at digital public infrastructure and tech-enabled development in areas ranging from health, agriculture, and education to commerce, skill mapping, culture and tourism, climate financing, circular economy, global food security, all these issues, how you can have a tech-oriented approach to quicker communication, quicker transfer of resources, and benefiting the whole world.
Ma'am, generally, you said it very rightly about sharing knowledge. India can share knowledge about digitalization, as we know that a large number of digitalized payments are now happening, and even people at the bottom of the pyramid are going for that. Ma'am, you talked about developed and developing nations, and there has always been a kind of a subtle dominance, or sometimes not so subtle dominance, of the developed nations. When we talk of sharing knowledge, we give digitalization knowledge. We can ask them to teach us clean technology. So how do you think that this is going to be a good common platform as a melting pot of both the developed and the developing nations?
I think that this is a very good common platform. Now, you see, even right now, a meeting is going on. And there, again, the same clash between developed and developing countries. You know, how much of the present climate crisis is owing to what the developed country has been doing over the last 50 to 100 years since the end of World War II? I mean, what have they been doing? How have they achieved that development by trampling on the utilization of the equitable utilization of the world's resources, whether they're marine resources, forest resources, and all other kinds of resources. And now they want to put the blame on the developing world and make the developing world take a greater share of the responsibility for solving the problem. But we believe in common but differentiated CBDR, common but differentiated responsibilities. So this is like we have been doing in all the climate change conferences. So also for other issues, we want to find equitable solutions. We don't want any kind of confrontation between developed and developing world, but we want to find, in a persuasive way, bringing the developed and developing countries together in the post-pandemic phase. I do not know if we are already in the post-pandemic phase or not, because there is the pandemic virus COVID-19 spreading in many parts, including in China. But whatever it is, during the lockdown of the COVID period, we did see the great disruption of supply chains, the great difficulties that many countries were facing because of disruption of supply chains caused by the lockdowns. Now, in the Ukraine crisis, we are facing another kind of serious difficulties on food security, because, Ukraine is such a major supplier of food grains, and we have other security-related issues emerging from the crisis in Ukraine. So, these are issues that we have to bring on board. Russia is a member of the G20, and also to tackle the energy security, India has already declared that we are going to be inviting special invitees for the G20 summit in India. And these include countries like the UAE, Arab Emirates, countries like Oman, countries like Bangladesh. So we are looking at a very balanced focus on development, bringing together emerging and emerged economies on a common platform.
Right, you talked of energy. Already, Prime Minister initiated the International Solar Alliance, in which more than 100 countries are taking part. So we are poised to take a leadership role in G20 as well. This is happening. You talked about the Russia-Ukraine war, which is very significant. The fact that the summit is happening in the background of the Russia-Ukraine war. How successful we can be in terms of food security, because there is a bit of tussle going on as far as food grains is concerned, and Ukraine was such a hotbed of growth of grains and export of grains.
We are very conscious of this aspect of food security because it affects not only us but many other countries of the world. Fortunately, right now, India is in a stronger position on the question of food security, and we have bailed out many countries who are in dire need of food grains as a result of the Ukraine crisis. And the world has recognized how India was immediately able to come to the rescue of many countries who were in a very difficult position, and India has promised to continue. For example, another thing in India is focusing on other grains like millets, for example. We declared an international year of millets, and we are telling the world that we must look at other food grains as well to meet the world's food security, so that we are not just with wheat and rice. And India is again playing a leading role in that, because not only for other countries but within our own country, this focus on millets and other food grains is going to be of great value, because these food grains are not only equally, if not more nutritious than wheat and rice, but they grow quickly, they grow in arid areas, they do not need the kind of care and excessive water supply that wheat and rice do. So we are leading from the front in this field as well, and we're doing it in our own pattern of development. Even before the G20 presidency has come upon us, we have been working ahead to take the leadership on these fronts within India and to help the world. So this focus of India's visionary approach, Prime Minister Modi's visionary approach to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, helping the world and helping us to help the world. So this aspect has been very strongly recognized. And also another aspect of the G20 and the security dimensions are being looked at, and we also seeing the whole importance of the Indo-Pacific coming out right now with the active role that Quad is now playing and the formation of AUKUS, Australia, UK and USA. We do see all this coming along to focus on the ASEAN and the ASEAN centricity of it all. And in this very context, we had a very strong participation to the Vice President of India in the ASEAN Summit Conference, which was held in Cambodia. It just finished, in fact. So all these issues were also discussed there, and India and ASEAN now have a comprehensive strategic partnership. So all these aspects will also blend into what is going to happen during the year of India's presidency. All these aspects will be woven into it because we have seen after, especially as a result of the Ukraine crisis, that the security situation, cyber security, just physical security, defense, protecting your borders, all this has become very important, and India is prepared to play its role in helping other countries in this world, in this aspect.
Thank you for your views and reviews.
Thank you.